Hello Leo friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Leo July 2024 Astrology Horoscope Forecast. This is for you if Leo is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Leo placements you're listening for. What we're going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. And if you're a very late degree Leo friend, birthdays like August 15th through the rest of the sign, or Leo degrees 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Virgo report, as your very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. Okay, so I'm calling the theme for this month, Fifth Dimensional Leaders, Leo leading to the fifth dimension. And that is quite a conversation. So I'm not going to lead with that part of the discussion because that's kind of a big thing that I want to build up to. And we do have a lot of more mundane things that you really need to know about this month in order to make it the best. We are going to start birthdays this month. We've got all kinds of other things going on. So let's just hit the basics of the absolute necessities that will help you make the most of the potentials. So the first thing to know is that we do have a lot of sweet aspects this month, more than the salty ones, which is something to celebrate. We are also still in a break time from the heat of eclipse seasons, but August will start that back. So August, September, October will be crazy again. Think back to the spring or fall for you all down under. Things just get nuts when it's eclipse time, even if it's in a nice angle for you like this eclipse cycle is. It still can be very busy, full of lots of change, just constant change, big trajectory shifts, and it can be pretty stressful, even if it's things that you're excited about. But we're not in that yet, so that's something to know about this month. We still kind of got a chill, kind of integrative time where storyline eclipse things can be coming up, but everything is more manageable. The next thing is that we have a hybrid month in two ways. One, that we've got a mix between Cancer and then Leo transits, which we'll talk about. And then also we've got a mix between very forward-moving energy and then the dip back into personal planet retrogrades. And this will make a big difference. And if you're paying attention, you will feel the shift mid-month, okay? So the first half of the month, basically until around July 17th, it's time to do all of your things that you would basically need tides going out for. So if you imagine whether it's a boat or a message in a bottle or whatever you're putting out to sea, if the tide's coming in, it brings it right back to shore, right? Unless you have a very powerful motor and then it doesn't matter, but we're not talking about here. We're talking about the natural rhythms of the universe. So things that go out when the tides are going out will go out further. So anything you have in your life that you want to go far and wide with as much ease as possible, those are the things to set in motion in the first half of the month. If you're listening to this in June, that time is also then, we've got this nice window that stretches, and this stretches until the middle of the month. And this is important because the second half of the month, which then will also lead into the second half of the year, is going to be much more focused on retrograde. We have one brief pop up later in the year, and then otherwise we're just fully entrenched in inward and backward energies. And these are not bad things, they're not things to worry about. There's a lot of magic that can happen in retrograde time, but it's the time when the tides are coming in. Okay, so mid-month, it's time to sit on the shore and wait for stuff to come to you rather than trying to conjure or force or make things happen. If you have to make things happen, or you want to conjure, or you want to be very active, or you have things you want to lock in for the long term, big decisions, big contracts that you need more clarity about, scheduling, future plans, anything that has to do with, a big business launch or engagement, a wedding, some sort of big celebration, you may have an easier time getting all of that situated in the first half, because as the second half of the month rolls in, things get called into question, it's just things will be rescheduled. It just kind of changes things. So if you have to even make like daily appointments, blood work, doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, you're going to have an easier time in the earlier part than you will in the latter part. So this is just one of the pieces that is really important to note, because it will save you if you align with these energies. It will save you a lot of rescheduling and aggravation. Okay, so let's talk about the Cancer energies. There's a very, very, very strong focus on the home and housing and family and real estate, things that, your inner world, people who feel like family. You may be returning to a place that feels like family. You may be returning to a place that involves water. This brings water prominently. You may be taking a vacation by the beach. All of this energy is watery, inward, focused on groups or intimate connections. And all of this crowds your 12th house, which is your private secret space, So it's doubly true that you may be able to take a retreat from the overwhelm of May and June, because it has been very, very busy. And things will get crazy as, the planets move along into Leo later in the month and into August. So this is like you've got a little brief time here of just rest and inward journaling and retrospection and meditation and, you know, just a quiet space where you're basically like reevaluating everything. Now, that being said, this still is also in the first half a time where it's time to get stuff out if you need to, but you'll be in more of an intuitive space for that, more of a quiet space, making decisions from, you know, that space rather than the loud, busy, you know, highly expressive space that's about to happen. We do have a number of really nice aspects with Venus this month. I'll give you the dates for 3 of them. The 2nd, Venus and Saturn get together. The 8th, Venus and Uranus get together. And the 11th, Venus and Neptune get together. So we've got just a lot of sweetness and boosts to confidence and feeling like you can do it, your can do it attitude, boost to romance and relationships, to money, to income, to sustenance, and all of that. So that's happening, and that's scattered throughout that time. Those dates are also good dates, the 2nd, the 8th, and the 11th, around those dates. If you have to do something important, we're still in the time before the energies start to turn inward and backward. Now, in the time before your birthday, your 12th house gets crowded. And by the way, I will show you the visuals for what I'm talking about here if you're a person who likes them. They're going to be at the end so that I can tell everyone else who doesn't want to watch them, when to sign off and when to stay on, so that if you want to see everything, I will go through and just hit the parts that I talked about so you can see them visually. But basically, when planets go into Cancer and in the time before either your birthday or if you have another Leo placement, the time before the sun crosses over your Leo placement, is a time where you're basically confronting demons, where you're going deep within to see what you don't want. You're evaluating your fears. You know, you're basically going to be able to step out with a rebirth of wishes and intentions at the time that the sun crosses over either your sun or your other Leo placement, which will be like the rebirth point. But until the rebirth point, we go very deep within so that we can see what we want to push back out. So you're stepping into an evaluation process where you're seeing what's worked over the last year, you're seeing your successes, you're seeing the places where you wish you could have done better, and getting a plan together to try to create more of what you want in your life and less of what you don't. Sometimes this can create anxiety because this is your subconscious mind, so you might have energies rumping and bumping around in there. Some people will do a thing where they say that they're celebrating their birthday early. I remember I used to do that when I used to drink. I would start celebrating before and say, oh, I'm starting to celebrate my birthday early. But I know now that there was anxiety that was coming from the 12th house being full, and I was doing that just to kind of deal with it. So you have the options, obviously, to do whatever you want to do with this, but what you could do is enter the deep psychological space and try to make positive causal changes on the root of what the issues are. You may need support for that, or like some kind of practitioner, trauma therapy, or meditative coach, or something where you channel those energies differently, and then you can become even more clear for your rebirth, which is coming very soon. So happy birthday to the July-born Leos. I have quite a few of those close to me. And happy birthday soon to our August-born friends. Now, when it is time for your birthday, make sure you write your wishes down, say them out loud, and feel them as if they've already come true, so that you can activate your reticular activating system, which is a part of our subconscious being that helps us to filter out the things that we don't need and become aware of the things that we do need that are in our environment. So when you do those 3 modes, you're getting that reticular activating system on board with you for what you're trying to create, and it will help to show you the things in your surroundings that will support what your intentions are or your wishes are. Okay, so let's see. Okay, let's talk about the moons. We've got on July 5th, we've got a 14-degree Cancer new moon that will also be in the 12th house where the rest of this energy is. And that's a good time for making wishes around, home, space, inner world, real estate, housing. If you have something along those lines that you want to improve, you can use those new moon wishes to gear towards that. And it's fun to keep track of these new moon wishes and birthday wishes. You can keep them in one notebook so that they're easy to go back, and you can check off the ones that were, fulfilled, and then you can use the ones that weren't to continue. Either those will have changed and you don't want them anymore, or then you can take them into the next wishing portal, because there are times when the universe is more receptive to our wishes and our intentions. And if you keep track of this, you'll just see how well it really works. It could be a great time for doing a vision board as well. All right, so in the days around July 21st, we've got a blue moon. This is a full moon in Capricorn. We have 3 different definitions of what a blue moon could be. The one that is relevant here is that we have a second moon in a sign. So at the end of June, or the 21st of June, we had a 1 degree Capricorn full moon. And this one is a 29 degree Capricorn full moon. So, a lot of things coming to the surface, being elucidated about your work in the world, about your employment, about parental energies. Sometimes it leans towards father figures, but it could be any, parents. Your place as an authority figure, anything having to do with employment, jobs, businesses. You could be getting recognized. You could be having something important happen. If you have to run a promotion, this is a great time. Promotions are temporary things. So the fact that we're starting to get into the retrograde time, it doesn't matter. So it's like a really, really good use of the energy, going back to people who you've already worked with to give a promotion. This could be a really great and productive time for that. And then specifically for Leo, this is happening in your house of your daily experience. So there could be either an extraordinary experience with people that you tend to see every day, or there could be a blowout. There could be drama, for better or worse. There could be a health issue that either comes into light as a problem, or that a great solution comes in and there's a healing that takes place. There could be something involving an animal also, pets and animals, or like a wonderful wildlife experience, something that brings things to a fullness, to a manifestation in the arenas of animals. At this full moon, full moon, we also have Venus making a beautiful aspect with Jupiter. So this is really exciting because it expands and accentuates in a wonderful way the energetics of this blue moon. And blue moons are more rare. We only have them every 13, in a 13 moon cycle. Well, since there are 3 different definitions, sometimes we can have them more often than that. But for any one definition, they're more rare of a moon compared to the other ones. So there definitely could be some things that come through that are more unusual or more exciting, or, a longer term thing you've worked towards, or something comes to light that has been deep and in process for a while. Okay, so I'm going to go into this idea of the 5th dimension and how Leo is leading part of this leadership charge of the 5th dimensional movement. I know that's not a discussion that everybody wants to have, so I'm going to group that in with the segment where I'm going to show the visuals. So if you're not interested in understanding our multidimensional reality and living and working in that space, and or you don't want to see the visuals, then you can sign off now. If you definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com, put your name and email address in to get my write-up for the month, where you can see all of we've got way more aspects this month, Pluto oppositions, you can see all the dates for those. There'll be power struggles on those days, just all of my write-up. So you basically go to anniehelpsyou.com, put your name and email address in. It will go, the welcome letter will go to your inbox, and you hopefully, or it can go to spam or promotions. Move it in your inbox, go to the archive link, put in July 2024 astrology, and you will get access. That is a free VIP community that you get all kinds of goodies. Now, if you're staying on, great. We'll go into the next level of discussion, and I'll show you the visuals for the things that we talked about. Okay, so let's get into the discussion about the things that we talked about. The first thing is this grouping of Cancer energies in your 12th house. This is the cosmic soup through which all of the individuation springs out in the first house. So this is like the everything, all that is, this quiet, internal, psychological, spiritual space that very soon as the month progresses will go into Leo and light up this first house. Very active, renewal, physically focused, from the ethereal to the physical. That's the jump that happens there. Then we've got the full moon in the 6th house. That will happen there, fullness, completion, fruition into your daily experience. The new moon was also there in the 12th house. And some of those nice aspects with these planets here are going to ground in with Saturn and Neptune. Okay, so let's get into what the fifth dimension is. So if you are aware that we are multidimensional beings having a multidimensional experience, we are humans having a spiritual experience, then great. If this is a new concept for you, but you're interested to keep listening, great. There's so much more to everything than we can see or have any idea about. And there is this understanding that we have planes of being. So, for example, fourth dimension is the heart. It's the space of compassion. And the third dimension is the 3D reality, where, the ego is and where the competition is and, where all of those things reside. So in any given day, we may find that we're kind of popping in and out of different dimensional experiences. So you may have a power struggle. And you see how that feels. You get tight in your stomach. The third dimension really hangs out there. And, then you might have a breakthrough where you feel forgiveness or you feel compassion. Maybe you see cute animal pictures and your heart just opens and you feel the connectedness of all things, and there you're moving through the fourth dimensional experience, which is through the heart. Then the fifth dimensional experience goes through the throat, and this is the connection of a higher level of consciousness and an existence beyond the physical and material realms. Our soul is not our bodies, and it just is housed in our bodies, and our soul is limitless. So as we move through the bridge of the fourth dimension, we climb up the ladder. I always imagine it kind of like the DNA ladder. It's kind of like spirally, and it lifts up, and it also goes down. It grounds into the earth. And this is, leading us to heightened intuition and psychic abilities, nonverbal communication, living in the present moment where strategy and planning and linear focus is not relevant, manifestation and co-creation, unity consciousness, anything having to do with a higher vibrational frequency. Things like meditation and mindfulness and energy healing and channeling and spiritual guidance all kind of like wrap up in here. But the place where Leo becomes a very major leader in this, if you resonate with this and you choose to be part of this, first happens from the perspective of Leo as a leader. Okay, so this is just something that you do. Not all Leos need to be seen. Not all Leos need to be in the limelight. But there is a natural leadership ability that Leos have. There's a passion, there's a zest, there's a knowing what to do. And, this puts you into a place of helping others just by showing up for what needs to be done at any given time. Also, the energy of creative expression is ruled by the sun. And the sun rules the fifth house, which is the Leo house. So Leo, you are ruled by the sun. The sun is at the center of our solar system. And it is, a heliocentric reality where the sun is at the middle. Now, when we run charts, we put it at a geocentric reality where, where the earth is here, and then we're looking out from the perspective of being on the earth. But in our solar system, we have a heliocentric reality, which is the ruler of Leo. And this rules the creative expression. And the creative expression often will come through the fifth chakra, the throat. Even if you're creating something where you're writing, there's a connection there. Your arms are connected in there. Your voice, speaking. This could be nonverbal, though, as well, and it originates in this part of the energy field. And Leo really rules that space. And there are other sign energies that will filter in and have their piece. But from the leadership perspective and the creative expression perspective, there is something there that's a match. Now, the big thing enters, and that is the planet Sedna, which is this here, has recently moved into Gemini. And this is a really big deal because Sedna only changes signs like every 950 years, so almost 1,000 years. And whenever Sedna changes signs, very big things happen for humanity. So for instance, one of the times Sedna changed signs, we moved from hunter-gatherers to settling down and having an agrarian lifestyle. So like for humanity, major things start to happen and major changes take place when Sedna changes signs. So Sedna's changing sign. And, unless you're an elf, then you will have Sedna in Gemini your whole life, and you will have Sedna in the 11th house your whole life, which is another fellow air sign. These energies go really well with Leo. The 11th house is the house of networking. It's also the house of the community. It's the area of life where it's the greater good and, the consciousness of the group and the global consciousness. So doing work in the global consciousness is, very much 11th house, and connecting with other people and either leading other people or giving your special unique gifts, like adding your instrument to the symphony of people who are, singing the same tune, basically. So whether you're lending your voice or whether you're in some way leading this charge, you're going to have Sedna represented here for your whole life. And, that's a really big deal. And this 11th house has everything to do with getting this information out to people. It rules the internet space. It rules the digital space. Sedna moving into Gemini represents, a jump to the digital era where we no longer have to be anywhere. We don't have to be in one place again, but we also don't have to go and chase our food down per se either, right? So humanity has entered a new era with Sedna in Gemini, and that is digital. So, digital connections, digital information, digital ways of interacting with other people, spreading information, getting information, we're in that era. And it's been building for a while, but now it's here. And this is going to be, in this space of sharing with groups and uniting with groups and other like-minded people for Leo. So, you have a chance to take a leadership role in this active global shift of awakening and ascension into consciously, being in the fifth dimension, which has to do with unconditional love and heightened intuition, unity consciousness, a deeper connection to the present moment, a connection to our resources and how to use those in ways that make sense, in ways for the greater good. Also involves higher vibrational living and frequencies. So you may be going through a time where your personal electric body is being upgraded, just like when you have an old house, if you ever refurbish an old house, which I have refurbished quite a few, so it makes me think of this. These are times you have to upgrade the electric because the circuits just can't handle the types of machinery that we have now. And that's what's happening. So you're fine-tuning your nervous system to be able to tune into the more subtle truths of the presence of things around you. And this is also really stepping into nonlinear time and creating, co-creating and creating through aligned intentions and thoughts. So here at birthday time, here at renewal time, this is just something for those of you who choose to accept it. And I understand that, some people are not interested in this. Some people think that this isn't happening, but it is. And it might not seem like it's happening on the third dimension when we look to see how many things are awry, but things are always awry in the third dimension. But our capacity to solve problems in the third dimension become more supercharged when we think about those problems from the perspective of the fifth dimension. So you can actually start to consciously move up and down this ladder into these different states of being and help other people to do the same. So meditation, energy healing, creativity, mindfulness, there's a flow that when you get tapped into that vibration, then you can feel yourself shifting into different dimensional realities. So maybe this is a time to activate this knowing and move forward with this consciously. So back to the mundane. If you want more information about what July is about, dates about when those challenging aspects will be, dates about those beautiful Venus aspects, I have more than I listed in the report, go to anniehelpsyou.com, put your name and email address in here, click on receive, and then you can get the welcome letter. Hopefully it goes into your inbox. If not, it could be in spam or social or promotional folders. Bring it to your inbox, click the archive link in there, put July 2024 astrology, and you can get the wonderland of information. Plus, I send weekly reports about how to use the current stars and astrology lessons and different things like that. If you want to learn astrology and you resonate with how I teach, you can go, you can scroll down on anniehelpsyou.com and you'll find Up Level. And you can take my Astrology Basics and Beyond course or my Becoming a Professional Astrology Mastery course. Astrology is an old world tool, but it's also a new age tool, and it is all things. And if you are wanting to help people with their conscious evolution, then astrology is a fantastic tool to help yourself and help other people. And if you want to do that professionally and monetize it, I'm your girl. So you can check that out at anniehelpsyou.com. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.